Welcome to Learning by Design podcast. I'm your host, Krishna Kart. And in this podcast, we explore innovative ideas, actionable strategies, and inspiring stories to transform education and workforce development. So whether you're a parent supporting your child's academic success, an educator shaping future leaders, or a business leader seeking impactful learning solutions, this podcast delivers expert insights and tools to empower every learner and leader. So from personalized tutoring and curriculum design to professional development and workforce training, we guide you in crafting meaningful learning experiences that drive growth, inspire innovation, and create lasting success. Tune in and discover how to engage minds, educate hearts, and empower futures in every learning journey. So in today's episode of Learning by Design, we're diving deep into the National Merit Scholarship Program. Whether you're a student aiming for this prestigious award or a parent supporting your child's academic journey, this episode is packed with valuable insights, tips, and resources to guide you. Okay, so let's get started. Okay, so for those of you who don't know me, well, majority of you probably don't know me, but I'm Krishna Kart. I'm the founder and CEO of the Masterpiece Academy, and I'm currently doing my doctoral degree in curriculum and instruction at George Washington University. Prior to that, I had, Harvard Learning Design and Technology, and then before that, of course, I got my master's in literacy instruction, reading education. And I've served as a literacy coach and reading specialist in public schools in both Loudoun and Fairfax counties. And I'm currently a national board certified teacher. And although I left public school system, I'm still passionate. And I just still love education. I still like inspiring and motivating others. So here I am. So without further ado, we engage, educate, and empower learners and leaders. So that's our goal: engage, educate, and empower. So this podcast is one of those things, one of those tools that we use to empower learners and leaders and families. And it's rooted in Ephesians 2:10. For we are God's masterpiece. He has created us anew in Christ Jesus so we can do the good things He planned for us long ago. So our services, okay, so we do business-to-business, K-12 curriculum development and instructional design. We also do coaching and professional development because I've served as a literacy coach and instructional coach in public school system. We have business-to-consumer, which is tutoring and test prep and after-school enrichment, which is like STEM. If you look at some of my previous podcasts, we talked about STEM and tutoring and test preparation. The Northern Virginia Magnet High Schools, Academies of Loudoun and Thomas Jefferson High School. Today, we're going to dive into the National Merit Scholarship. But we need to figure out first what is the PSAT, NMSQT, and why it matters. So if you don't know what PSAT, it's Preliminary Scholastic Aptitude Test or Preliminary SAT, and it's given to 9th to 10th grade. In some states, they give 9th. In some states, they give 10. Depends on the school district. But everybody in the nation takes a PSAT in 11th grade. Okay? So that's when the competition starts. Okay? So a qualifying test, PSAT is a qualifying test in junior that makes it the junior year, the 11th grade. That is the real PSAT, and that's basically a voluntary competition. It's not optional. All juniors, all school districts will test a PSAT. Okay, so it's a qualifying test. It's a standardized test administered by the College Board and sponsored by the National Merit Scholarship Corporation of the United States. Okay, by the way, this one, just like disclaimer, this is not endorsed by National Merit Scholarship or SAT College Board or PSAT College Board. This is just, informational for our parents and families nationwide. Okay? And all the sources, the data that I'm going to talk to in this podcast is based on the National Merit Scholarship Guide for Students 2024. You can download it. You can just Google search it and then download it and then go straight to their website. It's packed with more information. The purpose of this podcast is just to help you digest it because it's a huge pack. So it's just to help you digest it and to help, students digest it, make it much more simpler. That's it. So everything here came from that data and from that guide, student guide, and they don't endorse us. It's just a disclaimer. For copyright purposes, it's, when I say National Merit Scholarship, it's copyrighted, the same thing with SAT and PSAT. So let's move on. Let's start with the basics. Why should you care about the PSAT? So key statistics, and I'll read it. 1.3 million students take the PSAT and MSQT each year, and 50,000 students earn some form of national merit recognition. Only 16,000 qualify as semifinalists, and about 7,000 win scholarships. Some schools like University of Alabama and Texas A&M offer full rides to national merit finalists. By the end of the episode, I want you to know your state's national merit cutoff score and plan and create a game plan on how to crush the PSAT. So in that way, you got that, your dream financial award, merit-based award. Okay? So let's move on. So this is the timeline. This is a National Merit Scholarship timeline. So look at this slide. You can see October, fall, juniors will take the PSAT. It's usually mid-October. And then January to March, you're basically kind of like waiting. But in my previous podcast, I talked about strengthening your GPA and focusing your vision on like college and, college credentials. So while waiting for the results, focus on extracurricular activities, college credentials, and increasing your GPA. I cannot emphasize it enough, but you really need to increase your GPA because it matters so much. And then April, that's when National Merit Scholarship Corporation sends a list of 50,000 or, high scorers to high schools for verification and recognition. And we'll talk about it later in the next slide. It's going to be a long slide. And then May to August, it's crucial period to work on extracurricular essays and GPA. Usually that's when the award will come in. You will know the award in your basic senior year, 1 year. Okay. March to around May. Okay, and then we'll talk about it later in the next slide. But for this one, junior year, May to August, it's crucial to work on extracurricular activities. You're journaling your STEM or credentials, volunteers, summer camps, internships, strengthening your writing skills for essays, and obviously the GPA. Okay, so this slide, you will see September to May, and then here we will discuss the journey from PSAT to scholarship. Okay, and the key points here, you will see here in September, just refer to this slide, approximately 1.6 million students take the PSAT and MSQT annually, serving as the initial screening for the National Merit Scholarship. And then there are stages of recognition, recommended students. You're talking about, this is like, you took the SAT, PSAT when you are in junior 11th grade. So you're talking about this one is now your senior year. Okay, so this is fall of your senior. Okay, so stages of recognition, recommended students, okay, more than 2/3, about 34,000 students will be designated commended students. Okay, this is according to the 2024 guide. I believe they went down from 2023. They will be named on the basis of a nationally applied selection index qualifying score that may vary from year to year. So from that, semi-finalist, around 16,000 students, representing less than 1% of U.S. high school seniors, are notified in early September of their senior year. Okay, and then how do you become a finalist? Finalist, approximately 15,000 semi-finalists advance to the finalist standing by meeting additional requirements. Okay, and then advancing to finalist status, you've got to maintain an outstanding academic record throughout high school, obtain a recommendation from the school principal, submit a detailed scholarship application, including an essay. That's why, in my previous podcast, you really wanted to strengthen your writing skills starting from 9th grade, including an essay information about extracurricular activities, awards, and leadership positions. And then, on top of that, you need to achieve SAT or ACT scores that confirm the PSAT and MSQT performance. And then from the pool of finalists, about half will be Merit Scholar awardees. So you can see it here. And then here, now we're moving to March. So that was February. Okay, and then March, some 6,870, look at the bottom, national merit scholarships of 3 types, approximately, 710 special scholarships will be awarded in 2026, or basically your senior year. These combined, 7,580. When I say combined, you can look at the slides and then you will see 710 and then plus 6,870. So that's combined awards of about 7,580. It's worth value of that combined awards are about $33 million. So you can see, there's a lot out there. And all you have to do is really focus and increase your academic standing. Just take your academics seriously. So there will be different types of scholarships. You will see March to May, but no student can receive more than one monetary award. So there will be types of scholarship that will be offered, and these are the categories. So each company, university, and colleges has different requirements, but they all want your GPA, your extracurricular activities, your extra credentials, and essays very strong. So March to May, the news and media, there will be a news release and it will be advertised. It will be broadcasted. You will hear it from your district, if your name is there, from your school, everything, because everybody is proud. Maybe in state, if you are in top 10 in the states or so. So these are the types of awards that we will discuss in the next slide. We will discuss national merit or corporate. Another type of award is corporate sponsored merit scholars. Another one is corporate sponsored special award scholarship. And then you have these college sponsored merit scholarships. Okay. And that's the one that we will discuss in this slide, the types of scholarships. Okay. So by the way, before we discuss that type of scholarship, this QR code on top, it's, the high school code. It's basically the landing page of our high school website where you can see all the test preparation that we offer and then tutoring that we offer, just in case you have difficulty at some point in one of your AP classes and you just need a boost, whether it's in homework or test preparation, feel free to contact us because we can always, work it out based on your schedule and our teachers' schedule. We are a team of state licensed teachers and curriculum developers and instructional designers. They are my classmates from Harvard Learning Design and Tech at GWU and GMU. Okay, so the types of scholarships. Okay, we have 4 types. We've got, the national merit. It's not it's basically the national merit scholarships. National merit, corporate sponsored merit scholars, corporate sponsored special scholarships, and college sponsored merit-based. Okay, so key points. Okay. Let's go back first to the national merit scholars. So national merit, it's 2,500 scholarships awarded on a state representational basis, meaning the number of scholars per state is proportional to the number of graduating seniors. Selection is based on academic performance, that's GPA again, extracurricular activities, there you go, that's, leadership, and an application essay. See? There's always an essay there. Family, financial background, and intended college major do not affect selection. Okay, so that's it for the national merit. Let's go to the number 2, corporate sponsored merit. Okay, so overview of that is it's available to finalists who meet specific corporate sponsor requirements. So like, for example, if you're children of employees, residents of certain communities, or students pursuing a specific career fields. Some awards are one-time payments, while others renew annually. So large corporations like Google, Boeing, and AT&T sponsor these awards, and awards range from 2,500 to 10,000 per year. And of course, it varies every year depending on, what the corporations would like to give. And then corporate-sponsored scholarships. It's number 3 in this slide. It's high-performing program participants. It's for those participants, although not finalists. So even though you're not finalist, it's high-performing program participants who meet the sponsor's criteria. Most are for children of employees or residents of specific communities. So each corporation, check with your counselor. This is the reason why you always want to go back to your school counselor, because local businesses in your area usually communicate to your district, and then from the district down to the counselors. Always make sure to get in touch with the counselors. And sometimes, even though you're not a finalist or semi-finalist, but if your parents are employees of that special corporation who gives special awards, then you might qualify. But the bottom line is you still have to focus on your academics, GPAs, extracurricular activities, and definitely essays. All of those boil down to that. Okay? And then another one, college. The last one is college-sponsored merit scholarships. These are partner colleges that award scholarships to students who designate their institution as their first choice with the National Merit Scholarship Corporation. Awards typically range from 500 to full-ride scholarships. So you want this one, right, at certain universities. So examples of some generous universities out there, University of Alabama. So it's full tuition, housing, and stipend. Texas A&M, it's $40,000 over 4 years. University of Florida, full in-state tuition and stipend. So, my 2 sons, they got, my youngest son got an award from UVA, but of course he did not go there. He went to Stanford. It's full ride. Technically, I'm not going to pay anything. And of course, we're a resident of Virginia as well. But, because he has high PSAT, he qualified it's one of those top one in the States. And then another one is he got a full rides, the highest presidential award in Carnegie Mellon when he applied there in computer science. Okay, so it helps. And of course, at TJ, he got straight A's. His lowest grade is A-. So he's really a geek. And I'm proud of him. Anyway, so let's move on. Selection index. So when you say selection index, how does your PSAT score turn into a National Merit Scholarship Selection Index? Okay, so let's break it down. Okay, so selection index, it's basically the formula that the National Merit, NMSC, to select the top 1% per state. Usually the selection index vary per state, and they vary year to year. Okay, there's no way you can, predetermine it or guess it. I know some of the blogs out there, they put like, might be the possible, score or selection index in the state of blah, blah, blah. But it's really, every year, there's like different students every year, and you get scores differently every year. So there's no way you can predict. Okay? So here, that's the formula. You have to multiply by 2 your reading, writing, and math. You basically have to add them together and then multiply by 2 and then divided by 10. That's the selection index. Okay, so that's the easy formula. Okay, so the PSAT NMSQT selection index is calculated using a student's section scores and in that format. So unlike the SAT or ACT, National Merit Cutoff scores vary by state and change each year based on students' performance. So how it works? Well, the top 1% of scores in each state qualify as semifinalists. So if you just qualify like in the top 1%, it's already like huge blessing and a huge honor. You will see your names, and like my 2 sons, you will see your names like, you will receive certificate from the district and from your governor. Okay? Cutoffs are higher in competitive states like, New Jersey, Massachusetts, So every year they change. I will, together with this podcast, we will publish a blog, and then I will put there the state selection index per state last year when this PSAT became digital. So it varies per state because, again, they will need to choose the percentage of students per state. Okay. So now let's talk about some myths. Okay, busting common myths, okay, about national merit selection. Myth number 1, I need a perfect score to qualify. Well, any national merit semifinalists score between 215 to 225. And then if you look at the selection index, it's basically that range, okay, depending on their state. That's just basically the range. Myth number 2, math is more important than reading and writing. No, reading and writing is actually weighted twice as much. Yeah, and then myth number 3, only geniuses qualify for national merit. The right study strategy, smart strategy, you just have to crush it and figure out, get mentorship from expert teachers like us, okay? From expert coaches and from, because of course we're teachers and someone who knows you and, knows your learning style and, crush it and then develop a strategy and then, discipline. So that's it. Yeah, so let's go back to that stage, to that selection index. You have to multiply the reading and writing, and then you've got to add the math and then divide it by 10. Okay, so that's the selection index. Okay, and strategies, these are the QR codes, PSAT and SAT classes that we have on our website. So if you scan that, it will lead you directly to the schedule of classes that we have for SAT and PSAT. And again, it's always good to start early. So we're going to move on to strategies to boost your selection index score. So if your selection index is not quite where you need it to be, or if you're not happy with your, with your practice PSAT in 9th and 10th grade, then definitely. That's the reason why if it's offered, PSAT or 10th grade PSAT is offered in your school or your district, then, that's a good starting point. So in that way, you can zoom in on which type of questions you're having struggle with, and it's much more personalized. That's basically the way we do it. We look at, your previous scores, your history. So in that way, we can get a better glimpse of how we can help you more. I need to develop high-impact study plan, enroll in our classes. You got to focus on reading and writing first, and since it's worth twice as much, this is where you can improve the fastest. And then you've got to master, algebra, advanced math, all of those components of PSAT. And we will talk about it in the next segment. Yeah, and then take the official practice test. We use also Khan Academies. We have an account in Khan Academies, and then we use their resources as well. And then you have Blue Book resources. So we use that alongside with the College Board's SAT study guide. We give it to our students as extra resource. So we use variety of resources, and then we curate our own strategies. We look at the students, their scores from 9th grade if they have taken it, 10th grade, or from their Blue Book if they have taken some practice tests. Well, Khan Academy has free. So if you don't want to enroll in classes, at least register yourself there in Khan Academy. And then if you plan to enroll with us, we will just give you a code. So in that way, you can be in our class. So again, those are the resources that we use, and it's available to you as well. And some districts also have free SAT and PSAT in their, high school. So take advantage of those. And then if you need to boost up further your score, then, that's a time when you wanted to enroll in test preparation classes like ours. But, start with what you have. Start where you are, and then go from there. Districts, especially, rich districts like Loudoun County and Fairfax County, they have rich resources and they provide a lot. So make sure you take advantage of that, okay, before enrolling. And that will give us also, and make sure you sign up in your Blue Book. that will give us also a glimpse, kind of like a foundational view of your skills based on that, if you do some practice tests. So start practicing. And again, if you like this podcast, make sure you share it, you like, you subscribe, and share it with some other families so everybody could benefit from it. We're going to move on to the next segment. Feel free to pause, which is your guide, content, and strategies. So in this segment, so we just talked about we talked about the National Merit Scholarship, corporations, type of scholarships. And I hope that with that previous segment you had, it's enlightening for you. And I hope that you like it. And I hope that it inspires you to do well in your classes and do everything that you need to get the goal. I hope I get you motivated. So now we're going to move on to how to boost your score. But before that, you cannot boost your score if you don't know what's being tested in PSAT. So that's basically what this is all about. So without further ado, let's see if I can. So this segment is entitled Master the PSAT, Your Guide to Content and Strategies. So I'm just going to discuss what's new. This is basically the PSAT became digital in 2024. Okay, so you will see here, because I know majority of you probably have seen, and even in Khan Academy, there are some practices there that's like based on the old PSAT when it's not digital yet. So that's why it's very important to figure out which one is new and which one is old. It's not going to hurt you if you practice those old practice tests, but it's just different format, okay? And from our perspective, we adapt to the changes. So if it changed, then we reformat our types of questions and then types of the strategies, because definitely content, format, test-taking strategies will change if the format has changed. So that's the one that we will discuss today, what's new. So here, you will see here, this is the linear, in this slide, linear PSAT structure. And you will see reading and writing. There are 2 modules. There's 33 items per module. And for each module is 39 minutes. Okay, for math, it's 27 items per module. There's also 2 modules, so total of 54. You have 43 minutes in math per module. So when I say linear, these are the ones that you can download from the College Board website. And then, the one in your blue book, that's kind of like the good format for the digital one. Okay, and it's good because to practice digital, so it's really good to log into your blue book and practice from there, because it helps you with the test-taking strategies. So we encourage you to practice on your blue book. Okay, so this is the digital SAT structure. That's the one in blue book. By the way, the linear, of course, it's not adaptive because it's pen and paper. And then part of the linear method, of course, we do linear method as well when we do strategies. We discuss it. We have slides, and then we discuss strategies per type of questions. And then we use the SAT College Board's, the official SAT study guide as student textbooks. So we give it each one to each student. It's embedded in the price. And then we also have learning management system, which is digital. Kind of like mock the digital format of the current PSAT, okay? So the linear helps you zoom in to the strategies, because, of course, you still need to see it like in pen and paper method. And, you've got the tactile method of solving it there if it's math. And then, you've got the tactile method of, figuring out, main ideas, key details, and stuff like that, okay? So we use both, but our diagnostic, midterms, and finals are housed in our learning management system. So that kind of like, so that aligns with the digital mode of the SAT structure. Okay? So here in the digital SAT structure, you can practice this by logging into Khan Academy. That's for free. We use it as well. And when you enroll with us, we will give you a code. And of course, you need to practice this in your own blue book, which you have set up with your counselor in your school district. okay, in your school building. So in digital, reading is 27 items, 54 per module, okay, for both modules, A and B, or modules 1 and 2. And, it's 32 minutes each, so it's 64 minutes in total. Math is 22 items per module, okay, so combined modules of 44 items and 35 minutes each, and so in total it's 70 minutes. So the reason why you have module 1 and module 2, you can see in this slide. So it's basically module 1. You see the reds, the yellows, and the greens here. In this slide, you will see that it's basically divided into easy, average, and difficult questions. It's equally divided. But when you go to module 2, that's the reason why it's called adaptive. It's basically the algorithm will break it down for you. So if you answered majority of hard questions, then it will adjust based on the type of questions that you answer. Okay. Now, if you ask us how it's scored, well, it's algorithm. So no one can really guess. You might see some blogs out there how to guess it. But instead of focusing on how it's scored, why don't you just focus on how to answer medium and, difficult questions, or average and difficult questions. So that's what we tell our students. But that's the way a digital works. That's the way algorithm works. It adjusts, okay, adaptive. So they have gazillions of questions out there. So everybody will get different questions. Everyone will get different questions when they get to module 2. So that's in both reading and writing, and then math, okay? It's adaptive in digital. So it's very crucial that you practice in your blue book. And then in the class, we will help you distinguish which one is, easy, average, and then difficult. That's something that you can, that we will discuss in the class. To become digital way back in 2024. So this is the second year that it's digital. And again, can't tell you enough, but you've got to practice on your blue book because it's test-taking skills. And then in the blue book, if you practice there, one of the things that is part of the test-taking skills, you've got the testing timer. Okay, you've got, the review button, or kind of like the bookmark or something. And then you've got a reference sheet. You've got, the calculator embedded there. And then annotations are there. So it's always good to combine the blue book. And when you attend our classes, you still have to, you need to have access to those. Make sure you have your computer because you need to access your blue book, and then our learning management system, and then Khan Academy. And then you also get that official SAT study guide. Okay, and of course you get our slides, PowerPoints, and there's like individual student conference that happens in the class. So that's how we work. It's personalized based on where you needed it. Let's focus on the content of PSAT reading and writing. And it's the same thing in SAT. So when I say content of this, it's the same thing in SAT. It's just that SAT has a harder text level. Okay, so it's just a matter of text. Okay, so in PSAT, you will have a lot of genre. It's multidisciplinary. You will see readings from social studies and history. It's multidisciplinary. You will have passages from sciences, humanities, and literature, and then there are poetries. And, poetries are hard, especially for some students. So, because it's a different genre, so that's why that's why you need some teachers, especially if you don't like poetry. That's not gonna work. Right? So you really need to figure out what type of questions are needed, and then what type of format, okay, and what level of poetry, questions are in there. Okay, so those tiny details are crucial for you to score well. The type of questions, if you go here in the next slide, you will see that there are 4 major types of questions. These are umbrella questions, categories. Got information and ideas, have craft and structure, expression of ideas, and standard English conventions. Okay, so in each major category, think of it as an umbrella. Information and ideas, they are subdivided into some more subcategories, which you will learn in our class. Not gonna discuss it here, it's overwhelming, but that's what we're gonna learn in each class. And then we have the type of questions that goes with it. Okay, so you will learn how to answer the different type of questions asked for each subcategory and then per category. Does that make sense? And then we break down your scores. We analyze your scores based on those subcategories and categories, and obviously the genre, because sometimes information and ideas in literature is different from information and ideas in social studies and sciences. So there's a lot more complexities than what you thought, that's what you think. So craft and structure, it's basically how you write. Okay, so majority of the students who are good in craft and structure are those who are good in writing. So it's how you write, how the author basically composed the text. But again, this craft and structure, there are still some subcategories that are embedded here. And then you've got expression of ideas. Again, there are some more subcategories in expression of ideas. And then standard English conventions are grammars and and punctuations. So we have curated self-paced PSAT and SAT reading and writing. So if you are planning to sign up, like for example, during the year, if you wanted to sign up and then take your first SAT or PSAT and there are no classes, or if you just don't want to be in a class, you can study it, and then the recorded materials there are us. Like I recorded SAT reading and writing. And then I discuss a lot of strategies, tiny strategies, those subcategories that I was talking about, okay, to help you with those questions. And every question is targeted. Every type of questions I kind of targeted. That's the way I work with, when I was a reading specialist and literacy coach. And that's the reason why I have national board certification. So it's very deliberate. Okay, so that's the reason why I had that national board. It's deliberate teaching. Okay, so the contents of this, the way it's broken down, the distribution, craft and structures about 28%. Information and ideas is about 26%. English conventions about 26%. Expression of ideas is 20%. This is basically revising and editing. Expression of ideas is basically revising, and then English convention is basically editing. Craft and structure is the craftsmanship of the author, how he wrote it, how he wanted to convey his ideas. Information and ideas, so those are just like, the literal level of key ideas and details, but still needs to be broken down, okay, in the class. And then the strategies are still broken down. Okay, so let's move on to the math. Okay, so the math section. So even though it's math, it's still, you will read passages from sciences, social science, and real world topics. So it's basically applied math, and then you will solve problems on the situation. It's based on the passages. Yeah, and then these are the major categories: algebra, advanced math, problem solving and data analysis, and geometry and trigonometry. So again, algebra is a major category. So it's broken down into several subcategories. The same thing with advanced math, problem solving, and data analysis, and geometry and trigonometry. A good one to start is to sign up in Khan Academy, and you can just do it yourself. There are some videos there. Their math portion is good. So I would start with that. Okay? And then again, some of you might have some resources that are for free from your school district. Make sure you avail of it. Anything that's free, avail of it first. If you wanted to boost your score, that's when you wanted to join us. If you want to be in the National Merit Scholarship, if you wanted to score high. So that's when you join us. If you just wanted to pass, I think those free resources would be good enough. But if you wanted to get into the top universities and then score high and get into the National Merit, then you needed us. So the next one here is, this is the distribution of the PSAT math. So geometry and trigonometry, it is 15%. Data analysis is 15%. algebra is 15%, and advanced math is at 35%. So, you can see where you need to focus on. It's distributed. So I think that might help, right? In terms of planning. Okay, so what's staying the same? The text complexities. And again, it's multidisciplinary, command of evidence and textual. Command of evidence, textual, and quantitative, it's still there. You will see graphs. You will see textual evidence. You need to just be on the lookout on, how to read graphs and everything. So again, that's something that you will learn in our class as well. If you haven't gotten a chance to develop it at your school building, and if you feel like, you need some strategies on that, that's where we come in. It's good to know that there are still some vocabulary words, high utility words, and phrases in context. While prepping for that, you might want to increase your vocabulary. So one of the ways to increase your vocabulary is to keep on reading. Keep on reading high quality materials like journals and articles from, say, for example, National Geographic, like from federal government sites, NASA, that type of deal. Okay. And then, like, for example, in social studies, you will read whatever, like, for example, kind of like in archives. So make sure you browse through that Library of Congress. There are some articles there. Make sure you familiarize yourself with those type of genre, because those are the ones that will appear the most. And in poetry, for sure you're doing it already in your school, but those famous authors, American authors, and some international authors you will see it there. And you will see it here, revising and editing. So keep on reading and writing. That's one way to kind of score high, because if you keep on reading and writing, doing reading and writing, and then drafting, revising, and editing, that will strengthen your test prep skills. Okay, so continue with that. So what's staying the same? You still have the math problems in and out of context. That means it's applied math in context and then out of context. Sometimes it's just pure math. You still have some student-produced responses in math where you have to fill in. And then obviously, it's still multiple choice. By the way, the reading passages, obviously, from several paragraphs down to like 2 or 3 paragraphs. The reading and writing passages are shorter this time than the old one. Okay, so it's a good segue. What's changing significantly? The passages are shorter. Calculators are allowed. You get faster results, and it's much more secure. So, yeah. And again, our classes, we have SAT and PSAT in person, both here in One Loudon. And we also have location in Fairfax, close to GMU, close to my class at GMU. Next, we have live online. So we have teachers who teach from different states. So if the in-person classes won't work for your schedule, we can also accommodate some other students from different states who cannot come to our physical location. So we have live online classes, and obviously we have self-paced class. The PSAT reading and writing is already developed. Some of the frequently asked questions are, do you want to take? And this is like moving forward in SAT, because it's the same format, SAT and PSAT. If you wanted to take SAT essay moving forward when you are going to college, when you apply in college, I would say go for it. Take it. We have self-paced class for that, and we also have a class for just SAT essay. Okay, so let's move on to scoring. Okay, scoring. Okay, so in my previous podcast, we talked about PSAT 9, okay? So this is the scoring for the PSAT 9. The total score, scaled score, is 1 for 40. And then section score scales is 120 to 720. Okay, so the total score scaled score in PSAT 9th grade is 240 to 1440. And then for the 10th grade and then 11th grade, it's the same, 320 and then 1520. And then the section score scales are from 160 to 760. And then the SAT, it's 400 to 1600. And then the section scale score is 200 to 800. Okay, so again, if you have PSAT administered it in your school in 9th grade, take it. It's a great practice, but don't take it without practicing yourself. The reason why they're giving it is for you to start harnessing your skills and then have a goal for yourself on how to increase your score, because increasing your score will help in college application and scholarships, as you can see in my previous podcast. PSAT 10, 11, PSAT 11, NMSQT for 11th grade, that's the real deal. So PSAT 9 and PSAT 10, those are just practice tests that won't be in your records. But the PSAT NMSQT 11th, the one that you take in your junior year, that's the one that will be on your record. And all the SAT and ACT tests that you took, during your junior year onwards, okay, in, fourth year high school. Okay. By the way, you can qualify for, talking about this, for middle schoolers. When my two sons were in middle schools, they took SAT, and majority of our students have taken SAT when they were in middle school. You're only allowed to take SAT and PSAT in middle school if you're applying for, gifted programs like Johns Hopkins Center for Talented Youth. These are programs for gifted students, and their qualifying tests are SATs and ACTs. So if you have middle schoolers, one way to kind of like practice for PSAT and SAT is to have them take it when they were still in middle school. And then from there, of course, that's going to be their credentials. And then from there, you can, check Stanford, EPG. There's like for every region, there are like gifted centers. And then majority of the qualifying tests are SATs and PSATs. Okay, so that's one way to apply to kind of like practice for that. And the good thing about applying in these gifted centers, it's basically once you qualify, you will get an award. You'll go to a ceremony, kind of like in Center for Talented Youth in Johns Hopkins. That's in our area because it's only in Maryland. And of course, they will receive their certificates and it's awarded, it's broadcasted. Yeah, so that's a great practice. And that will be in their credentials in middle school. And that will give them a kind of like a heads up in internships and scholarships. Like my two sons, they went to Baylor College when they were in high school, and because even in middle school, they went to some other like Virginia, UVA. It's outreach and it's for free just because they have this. Yeah, so that helps a lot to build your credentials. Okay, so more tips. We have STEM. This is a QR code for our STEM classes. Make sure you check it out. And the majority of our STEM classes are meant for competitions. We train for math counts, for robotics. So be sure to check it out if you are in the area. If you're not in the area, we will figure it out too. Basically, math counts, you might be able to participate, but probably the robotics one, we have game design. You can participate there live online. Our classrooms here in One Loudon in Venture X is we can do hybrid. We can have in-person students and then, we also have a conference camera. I've done that in Academies of Loudon and TJ Test Prep. It's hybrid. We have conference camera so everybody can participate. And for those who are traveling during the summer, if you missed one session or if you are away for that particular session, you can still participate online. Okay, so we're trying to accommodate everybody's needs and everybody's situations. So check it out, okay? STEM, one way. And of course, this is our PSAT and SAT landing pages, those QR codes. Start reviewing for now. And this is our contact number. This is our slide. That 571-485-0934. That's a cell phone you can call or text. And that's our headquarters in One Loudon. We are located right here in beautiful One Loudon, 679 Endicott Drive, Suite 341. So after school, the building gets locked, but and that's our email. So feel free to contact us. And yeah, if you like this podcast, Learning by Design, make sure you subscribe, you like, and share it with some other parents and families. And again, our goal is to engage, educate, and empower learners and leaders. Thank you so much and bye for now.